Hello and welcome to episode 13 of Anniversary Edition. In this episode we're going to be looking at The Terminator, which is 35 years old this year. Came out in 1984, and I think most people are aware of what The Terminator is. So I'm going to go around the room, let's get everyone introduced, and we'll just start talking about it. So who have we got over there?
Over here. Oh, hi. Hi from over there. I'm Adam. Yeah.
And I'm over here, and I'm Kieran.
Awesome.
Anyway, Terminator.
Yeah, Terminator. All right, okay, so we're going to be looking at, well, I guess it's The Terminator, is to give it its proper title. Yes. Everyone knows Terminator, don't they? I mean, it's a huge franchise.
I think like The Terminator will be the least viewed film of the franchise.
I think you could be right, actually. It's one of those
I
rare...
meant to look at box office numbers.
Yeah, it's one of those rare movies that it was the sequel that created the cultural phenomenon and not the original, really.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I think my personal preference is that I prefer the first one to the second one, but we'll get more into that, I think. Anyway, so for people who don't know about The Terminator, I'll give you a very basic plot synopsis. Essentially, a cyborg is sent back from the future to kill the mum of the leader of the resistance in the war against machines.
Yep.
Yeah, that sums it up pretty well.
Sums it up, yeah.
Supposedly came to James Cameron in a fever dream while he was making his Piranha movie.
Right.
He had this bizarre. Everything was spiraling out of control in this film, and he ended up having this bizarre dream where he was being chased down a corridor by a metal skeleton, and that's what became this film.
That's what became this film. Well, because, yeah, like you say, directed by James Cameron. He wrote it as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, or co-wrote it.
With Gail Ann Hurd. With, which is interesting in the credits.
Yeah.
Because there aren't with credits.
No, because there's there are rules, aren't there?
Okay, so when you see a screenwriting credit on the film, if it's Tom ampersand Adam, that means you worked on it together. If it's Tom A&D Adam, that means Adam took something you wrote and rewrote it.
Right.
But only enough that he also gets credit.
Right.
Screenwriting arbitration rules are weird. Very often, the credited screenwriter on a film is not the person who did the most writing on the movie.
No, and what about the comma? Like, what if you have a list of people with a comma?
I don't know about commas. The Screenwriters Guild tends to just recognise the ampersand and the A&D.
Because I'm sure there's one of those. I don't know if it was a Fast and Furious, but it was one of those like big action movies, and it was a point in its franchise where they were scrambling to get a film made, and it wasn't going particularly well. And I swear I've seen like 8 writers, and it's utilised commas, ampersands, and ands, and you're just like, who the hell was writing with who?
It gets so messy. But no, generally the dividing line is A&D. If you see that means that's somebody else rewriting another person's script.
Yeah. Anyway, stars Arnold Schwarzenegger,
who wasn't really a star.
No, probably the film that launched him, really, I guess. Oh no, he made Conan the same year, so I think those two things together probably.
And then New York.
Well, no, I mean...
That was a long time ago. That's 1969.
Yeah.
He's in New York.
So there's like
and
nearly...
it's very bad.
Yeah, there's 15 years difference between that and his breakthrough.
How old is Arnold Schwarzenegger in The Terminator?
Well, he was... Hang on a second. He was 20... He would have been... He was born in 1947, so... he would have been... I'm trying to do maths. Not my strong point.
He was born in 47, did you say?
Yeah.
So he would have been 30.
He's the same age as my dad. That's how I know.
Whoa.
Yeah.
He looks great for his age.
So he would have been 37 here?
Something like that, yeah.
He'd have been 37.
What? Man,
that can't be right.
That can't be right. Those steroids are really holding
up. Yeah,
up.
no, maybe it is. Yeah.
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 There you go.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger, older than you think.
Aside from Arnie as the Terminator, we have Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor, who plays the mother of of John Connor, who goes on to be the biggest threat to the machines, apparently. And then we have Michael Biehn as Kyle Reese.
Kyle
Reese, yeah.
And Bill Paxton as a random punk.
As a random punk, yeah. And also...
Rest in peace.
Yeah, there's another guy who's next to him, who's the other random punk.
I do recognise one of the other random punks, and I couldn't think who it was.
He appears as 2 different bad guys in Buffy, but he did something else that was he's more known for, like another series, I think, but I'm not sure which one it was. When was the first time you saw this, Kieran?
Do you remember the TV show Points of View?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I will describe for our international and much younger listeners what Points of View was. Essentially, it was a television program that was YouTube comments.
Yes.
Middle-class YouTube comments.
Yeah.
Angry from Manchester would write in to complain about all the repeats on TV, and it would be someone like Barry Norman or Esther Ranson.
Yeah. Anne Robinson.
Anne Robinson. These are old British people, foreigners and young people, who would read out these letters on the air, and it would generally be complaints about a TV show, something the BBC had shown. It would be, Dirty Den shouldn't have hit Angie with a frying pan at 7 o'clock on...
Yeah.
On
Dirty Den.
Yeah, there we go. It was all this. It was people complaining about TV programs.
Yeah.
And I first saw Terminator in a BBC Two showing of Terminator that people then complained about on Points of View.
Right.
And they didn't complain about it because of the swearing and the violence and the sex scene.
Yeah.
They complained about it because those things were cut out of it.
Really?
Yes, specifically, I don't know why I remember this. I remember someone complaining that there's a bit where the Terminator kind of somehow has a dingy hotel room.
Yeah.
And the landlord comes and bangs on the door and complains about the smell. And the Terminator selects a response from his screen, which is quite rude, and tells the landlord to go away.
Sure, go away, yeah.
Yes, go away, landlord. That was cut out of the showing I saw, and people wrote into Point of View to complain that this particularly hilarious gag had been cut out of the TV version.
That's quite a big percentage of Arnold Schwarzenegger's lines cut then, because he only had 14.
Yeah. And I then think I would have fairly swiftly afterwards gone and found a VHS copy of the proper version and then watched it after that. So when that would have been? Oh, God, I would have been a teenager.
Right.
So I knew kids when I was at school who had seen this, and I don't think I saw this. It was an 18 certificate in the UK, and I don't know if I saw this before I was 18.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Interesting. What about you, Adam?
Same. I didn't see it before I was 18. Certainly,
I think I saw T2 before I saw this one.
I definitely saw T2 before I saw this one. I saw this film maybe 4 or 5 years after I watched Terminator 2.
Interesting. I definitely saw this one first. And I think I saw it when I was probably mid-teens. So I'm thinking like 14 maybe. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure I was still at like secondary school. And I can remember having seen RoboCop when I was like 10, being quite put off by watching films that I knew were like 18 and like kind of...
This is much tamer than RoboCop. Like, even though it kind of gets lumped in that kind of
much
Terminator, Alien, Predator, RoboCop, almost shared universe.
Yeah.
This is way tamer than...
It is, and it was one of those things...
RoboCop versus Terminator video game?
There was a comic series, certainly. There was
Not sure about a video game.
I think all of those franchises, all those 4 franchises I just mentioned, have all crossed over in comic book form at least once each. Yeah,
and so I remember seeing it, and I think it was probably late night BBC Two or Channel 4 or something like that. And I seem to remember watching it quite late at night. And I remember quite liking it even then when I first saw it. How did it compare for you, Adam, if you'd seen the sequel first?
Well,
what did you make of it?
The sequel first, you have slightly different expectations as to what the Terminator's going to be. You think it's going to be a big, rambunctious action movie, like the sequel. But instead, it's more like sci-fi Halloween.
It is sci-fi.
It is, yeah. That's what I was thinking when I was watching it. Like, this is essentially a slasher movie.
Yeah, which James Cameron hates. That people think it is just sci-fi.
Well, that's what it is.
But exactly
he can hate it all he wants.
Looks like,
what the film
and how it's structured.
Yeah, so he came up with a genre for it.
Oh God!
Which he lumped Blade Runner into as well, to try and lift the sort of the cachet of Terminator, which he calls tech noir, which I can see.
That's just the name of the nightclub in the movie.
Yes, but that's what he kind of attributed it to. And I think that's why he called the nightclub that. But
pretentious kid.
Yeah.
No, noir it ain't.
No, which Blade Runner totally is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not at all. Yeah, you say it's Halloween but with robots.
Yeah.
This is Tech Stab, perhaps.
Yeah.
I guess that's more the second one.
Yeah. But Yeah, I can, because I personally, I'm a bit like this with the Alien franchise as well, where again you have slightly more of a horror movie for the first installment, that's then followed up by an action movie.
Yeah.
And I think in both instances, I prefer the first one.
I have an issue with the second one in that even within its own universe, it can't happen.
Is it because of the rules of how you transport something back?
It's the rules of the time machine. Yeah.
There's one thing Kieran hates most about films, and that's if they don't
Breaking the
pay
rules of
attention
time
to
travel.
their own rules.
Yeah, pay attention to your own rules.
Well, so this is something I was looking into this, and it's kind of interesting. So originally there was always supposed to be 2 Terminators in this first film, and one of them was always supposed to be liquid metal.
Right.
There was
Can you imagine that with the special effects of 1984?
Exactly, which is why they
It would have
didn't
just
do
been
it.
a bottle of water chasing Sarah Connor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would have looked like Alex Mack.
So there was always supposed to be some kind of loophole / explanation for the fact that metal could be transported if it was either covered in human tissue or some form of liquid.
They explicitly state in this film that the time machine can only transport organic matter, and that's how the Terminators get through, is because they are a metal endoskeleton wrapped in organic matter, which basically shields it from the time machine.
Yeah.
And I remember reading a Terminator comic where 2 Terminators are sent back to the past from wherever they are in the future, and they want to transport a futuristic weapon with them.
Right.
Let's call it a laser for the hell of it.
Sure.
And they do so by kidnapping a human, stuffing the gun inside him and forcing him through the time machine with them, and then just tearing it out of him when they get to the other end.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have just wrapped it in steak, right?
No, it's not living.
No, it's not living.
Oh, wait. How does the time machine know what's alive and what's not?
I don't know, electrical
It's
impulse.
organic
no idea.
matter.
But I feel like that whole problem you have is down to the fact that James Cameron thought it all through, but because he cut it out of the first movie, just think, oh yeah, well that's how it works, and then just never bothered to tell anybody else.
It's in the deleted scenes in his head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
One thing I did notice, and something I did like, was this Terminator fits into Terminator 2 extraordinarily well. To the point where I could believe that James Cameron made the second one first and then travelled back in time to make a prequel.
Right.
They do really
dovetail
fit.
extremely well.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's probably it's got to be one of the most successful examples of movie plus sequel, right?
Yeah.
Has to be.
It's just a shame they never...
And then there was a third one.
Yeah, they never really managed to make a good third Terminator film.
No.
Which is,
It's
not that uncommon.
no, I mean, like we were saying with the Matrix, it's like once you get into exploring those worlds further, sometimes that can just really fall flat.
Yeah.
And
So
you
what
should
of
just leave it
what
be.
of the other Terminator films have you seen?
I have seen 3, which is Rise of the Machines.
Lady Terminator.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I can't call it that because there is actually a Chinese kung fu movie called Lady Terminator.
What's the?
Then there's
Then I think I
Terminator Salvation?
Christian Bale.
think
that
I've
one.
seen that one.
Yeah.
There's Terminator Genesis.
I haven't seen that one.
So I have seen 1, 2, and Genesis.
Right.
And the first 45 minutes of Genesis is a brilliant action film,
Right.
which takes parts of the first couple. Maybe it's just this one, and twists them because the timeline has been getting screwed up by all of this time travel. The first 45 minutes of Terminator Genesis is really good. Unfortunately, then there's another hour of that film to go afterwards.
Oh dear. No, I can't say that I'm particularly motivated to watch any other Terminator.
Oh, I only
movies.
watched it because I was on a plane and I'd
Yeah.
run out of films to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I read. Like I
Emilia
said,
Clarke doesn't really fill those boots, I'm afraid.
yeah. So there was one thing I was looking at. I was looking through some of the trivia on IMDb, and there was there's a whole bunch of so and so was offered the role of the Terminator, and so was offered the role of the Terminator. It's all the people you'd expect, right? All the big kind of action
Those are
stars.
usually bullshit.
They mostly are. And there was one which I am pretty sure someone has put there in for a joke, but it made me think that. I just hope that conversation occurred,
Liberace.
and I would love to know what the alternative.
Danny DeVito.
No, Chevy Chase.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, good lord. No.
Why?
No.
Could you imagine that?
No.
I mean, I just
I
where
can't
would you
imagine
begin
it
with that? It's
at
just
all.
I can't. And it's like, I'm sure someone's put that on there for just for a laugh.
for a joke.
The story I've been reading for years is Lance Henriksen turned up with like tinfoil over his teeth and basically dressed like a robot to try and get the job, and then they went, nah, but you could be a cop if you like.
Yeah. What do you think doesn't work about this movie? Like looking back on it 35 years later.
The romantic plot is forced as hell. To the point where it almost ruined the film for me. It didn't quite, but almost.
It's pressure cooker romance.
Yeah.
No, because the guy's been staring at a photograph in the future.
It's pressure cooker romance for her.
And he fell in love with the photograph. Mm-hmm. Which is, which means she's a real person. She has thoughts and feelings that he isn't privy to.
Yeah, how different would this have been if she'd gone, no, sorry, mate, I don't fancy it?
Well, yeah, this is the thing, because
Terminator would have ceased. You know what? If she'd have not slept with Kyle Reese right then and there, the Terminator would have ceased to exist.
Yeah.
All she had to do was resist. Yeah. Or go to the condom machine.
Yeah.
But by the same token...
Or just not call the kid John.
Yeah. No, because that would have altered the timeline, and it wouldn't be called John anymore. Maybe she did try that several times. Nothing changed other than the name of her kid.
But that must be so weird for John Connor in the future, knowing
he's going to send this guy. Well, that gets covered in Terminator Genesis.
Well, I mean, they mention it. She says it at the end, doesn't she? She says she says it into the thing, and she's like, "I'm not sure if I tell you, I probably will."
Yeah.
So that you make sure that you send him back.
At the end there as well.
Yeah.
But and it's just kind of like, how's he gonna deal with that? And then because
you'll meet a bloke called Kyle. Please don't let him get shot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, how
look after him.
Yeah, and then I guess she tells him that they fell in love for the short amount of time they were together, or whatever. Yeah. But he doesn't know that's true. He doesn't know what's happened.
He doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
Kyle Reese could be I hate to go there. He could just be a rapist.
It's just kind of weird. It's the thing with all time travel movies. There's always going to be that moment where you accept
drill down
it
far enough. Yeah.
I mean, Back to the Future is the same. When you kind of when you're kind of watching it
I was thinking
as
about that
a kid.
The other day, actually. Yeah. If one of your kids pees on the rug when he's 8 years old, or sets fire to the rug when he's 8 years old, when that happens, Lorraine's brain's going to go, what is going on? Yeah. And who was that? And why does my kid at 17 look like the guy who got me and his dad together?
Yeah, I know, exactly, yeah. So there's all that kind of stuff that you kind of just...
You don't remember faces that well.
I can remember people from... Well, hang on, it's 30 years.
Can you remember the face of someone you saw...
I guess it is 30 years.
Twice, 30 years ago.
She sees him way more than twice, and she tries to get off with him in the car. We've gone off topic. We're in a different time travel movie.
Sorry, okay.
Perhaps we should just do a show about time travel movies.
Let's get back on track.
We're talking about things we didn't like. What about you, Kieran?
I think pretty much, apart from some little details, some weird little details, after he steals the biker's clothes, why does the killer cyborg from the future think about putting the guy's gloves on as part of the outfit?
Right.
Yeah.
The only thing that I don't think still works is the quality of some of the stop motion and animatronic effects.
Oh, really?
I was surprised by how much I liked.
But
the stop motion at the end.
So the animatronic endoskeleton at the end is still really good.
Yeah.
When it's stop motion, it's not as good because you can see the quality of the film degrades as well. But the problem I thought with the other part is the animatronic Schwarzenegger head.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, when he's fixing the first time it's okay. The second time when they make it sweaty, it's bad.
Yeah.
But the problem with it is not because the puppet is too jerky, it's because Arnold isn't jerky enough in his shots. He's supposed to be a damaged robot, and if he was just
a bit
more staccato in his movements, it would have matched better.
Yeah. I'm interested. So did you watch this in HD?
I didn't know.
You watched
I'm semi HD. I watched the 720p version that's streaming on Sky, whatever it is I have.
right. Okay.
So in the middle. I was gonna watch my DVD, but no.
Yeah, because I watched the DVD, and like a lot of the effects stuff didn't leap out at me, and I think that that's something we've said before, that sometimes
for the most part the practical effects in here still look good. So there's towards the end the Terminator has a battle damage makeup they put on, and if they'd have just used that the whole time, that would have been great, because that still looked really good.
Yeah.
No, it was just like the
weird mannequin head. It looked like Michael Myers with William Shatner mask.
Yeah.
Like, it looked that fake. I wasn't happy about that. The other thing that really annoyed me was the expository dialogue when Kyle's getting interrogated by the criminal psychologist, and he basically just tells you the backstory of the movie.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to throw Back to the Future in here. Watch that movie again. Watch the first half an hour of Back to the Future. Yeah. Every single line is exposition, and yet it's a classic.
Because I think a lot of the exposition, I think why that sticks out is he's recapping it, because he already does all of that actually quite well during a car chase.
Yeah.
It's the
Sarah
problem.
Connor.
It's the problem when the same thing needs to be explained to two different parties in the same film.
Yeah.
We've already seen it the first time, but the characters haven't.
Yeah.
I really hated that scene.
So that, I mean, they could, given that all of that has reoccurred, they could have concentrated that scene on something else, like just him nitpicking. Which I also think that psychiatrist or psychologist, he's really bad at his job.
Oh yeah, but yeah. I mean, he obviously thinks this guy's just completely mental.
Yeah.
And he works in a shithole police station in the middle of the night. Like, he's not going to be predisposed to being nice to this idiot who's turned up and is yelling about robots and time machines.
That's true, but you do think that some people, there has to be like a level of professionalism there, whereas he just seems to be thinking, I'm going to make tons of money out of this guy because he's a nut job.
That's true. So something I thought about when watching this as well was, imagine if we as the audience didn't know that it was the Arnie Terminator that had killed the first two Sarah Connors.
Mm-hmm.
And the first hint
much better.
we have that Kyle Reese is the good guy is when he stops Arnie in the Tech Noir Club.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been great, because then you don't know.
Because if you think of it from Sarah's point of view,
either of them could have been.
There's two women with her name have been killed, and there's a man who turns out to be Kyle Reese has been. She's seen him following her throughout the evening.
Yeah, that's a really good shout. Actually,
it would have been
really good.
Way more effective. They do that exact bait and switch in T2,
which
obviously.
they then ruin with the marketing.
Yeah.
Which
they ruin with the marketing.
If you watch that without having seen any of the trailers, like the bit where they meet in the corridor and he's an 800, not a 101 in the second one, gets the shotgun out of the flower box.
Yeah, that's a cool shot.
Yeah, and they're either side of John Connor.
Yeah.
Like, that's the moment you're supposed to realise that, he's the good guy now.
Yeah.
But then they ruined it with the marketing, saying Arnold Schwarzenegger is back, and this time he's a good guy.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose if you just ignore all that, if you never saw any of that, it would be fine.
Loads of films do that, though. Like, you'll see trailers now that have the ending shot of the movie in them.
Yeah.
A Dog's Purpose did.
Of all the films to bring up.
What were your favourite things about it?
I thought the future war scenes looked great and stuff. I know for a fact they're shot in a car park, but
not even. They're all models in a studio, aren't they?
Oh, really? I figured they would just put a few crap cars in a backlot. And
have you ever seen? No, it's all forced perspective and miniatures.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
it looks great.
It looks amazing.
Laser beams and everything.
The whole budget for this thing is something like $10 million.
Oh,
$10 million,
it's crazy.
$1984.
It looks like. Is this fair? It looks like Starship Troopers, like a sci-fi action movie made 10 years later.
Almost 15 years.
I'd argue that Starship Troopers looks way worse than this does.
Well, it looks good. That's what I'm saying. It looks good. The models look great. I really enjoyed that.
If you can find some of the behind-the-scenes footage, we're sitting around a reasonable sized table here, and they have model layouts like this,
really?
And it's actual size skulls in the foreground and then forced perspective to
And
miniatures
then Citadel miniatures
Yeah.
in the back.
yeah,
Pretty much.
but it's done so brilliantly that you like all of that perspective is absolutely spot on perfect.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
The score for Terminator is a good track. I hate that after a while, the synth needs to just die.
The theme is good. The score is not.
Yeah, right.
You'll notice that Brad Fiedel never did anything else ever again.
I really liked the theme and the titles play up, and I really enjoyed that. But then it became very clear to me that synth was not going to stop.
The thing though is it's a time
absolutely will
It's
not.
a song that never ends.
well, it's the Terminator of music, isn't it? It's perfect for it's perfect for the era that the film was made, but also thinking of it as a historical time travel thing. I think that's, in a way, it both dates it, but that's a good and a bad thing. It's a bad thing because a synth like that sounds terrible.
Yeah,
But it's a
it
good.
sounded so bad.
It's a good thing because it's.
But in 1984, that was the music of the future.
Exactly, it perfectly is a 1980s action movie score. Right?
Also, it's way cheaper than getting an orchestra in if you've got
Yeah.
a low budget.
Yeah.
My top line of notes is, this looks great already, but that font is wank. It's a wank font. It's a really crappy font. It's one of the worst I've ever seen. Why would you use that?
But it's now the Terminator font.
Yeah.
It's dreadful.
Which is funny, actually, because I was looking at the back of my special edition DVD, and all the headings for the sections that when it tells you what's on the DVD are in what is now the Spider-Man font.
Oh God!
The Sam Raimi era Spider-Man. Yeah, the same as like on the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
That's funny.
What about you, Kieran? What are the things that you looked at and thought this is still great? You know.
I think the whole thing overall, the film is still really good. It's a solid concept, well executed.
Right.
Logically, with, for the most part, actual characters, which was our big problem with whatever it was we watched
Stargate.
last week. Stargate,
Yeah.
in which there are no characters. Yeah, see, I can't even remember what it was. I just knew it was another sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
The parts where Arnie is driving around in the cop car looking for Reese and Sarah, he looks every inch the terrifying robot when he's like eyes, doesn't blink, just looking left to right out of the windows, scanning. He looked dangerous and mechanical, which is what he was supposed to do.
I found it difficult to buy that he was a robot up until the point. Cyborg, sorry, Kyle.
Yes.
Up until the point where he gets battle damaged. As soon as he gets battle damaged, and they have that weird scene where he pulls his eyeball out.
Yeah.
I'm well into it. Like, this is a killing machine robot.
You don't actually see that he's a machine for 51 minutes.
That's
of this
crazy.
Film.
Isn't
Yeah.
it?
Like otherwise, he's just an awkwardly moving, sort of cube-shaped Austrian gentleman.
Yeah.
Quick question. We see that the Terminator can impersonate any voice he likes on the phone.
Yes.
Why, for the rest of this movie, does he choose to sound like an Austrian bodybuilder who sounds like he's only heard English for the first time recently?
That is a very,
It's a very good point.
very good question.
I think it's covered like later in the expanded universe where the one of the technicians working on the Terminators was Austrian and programmed his voice into the initial units, which is why
he's Austrian.
Why he's Austrian.
And I suppose if you are created by machines, accent isn't something the machine would ever
think about.
About.
Yeah. I think they also address like why would they make them look like a bodybuilder, because that stands out rather than.
Well, it has to be. I think it has to be a large frame to accommodate the endoskeleton and the machinery underneath it.
That's true. Yeah.
So you might, if you're gonna, and also it's intimidating.
Yeah.
Like it's sort of it blends in as a human, but it's still an intimidating example of that species.
It's not a great search and destroy thing, though, is it? I mean, if I was Skynet, I would send back
a squirrel.
A mosquito. A mosquito would do a great job. Would do a brilliant job. Right? Mosquito with some venom in. Fly in, land. Quick bite, done.
Well,
Done.
maybe that's the next Terminator movie.
Kyle
because they
Reese
keep
running
getting-
around with a fly swatter and some raid.
Would you hide the mosquito inside a human to get it back in time? Assuming it's a mechanical mosquito that can be programmed.
Because otherwise you've got to get all that technology inside
Exactly.
a mosquito.
You could put the mosquito inside the squirrel,
Right.
throw the squirrel through, mosquito explodes out. I think it'd be fairly simple.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Then it'd get trapped in amber.
Yeah.
And we end up with robotic dinosaurs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be like it'd be the Dinobots.
Oh
Come on,
my
all
God.
these franchises. Come on. Exactly. Yeah.
Kill Sarah Connor.
Oh, good lord.
I think that what made the Terminator so good was that it was uncompromising. Like this first one, it's an uncompromising film. Like the Terminator's relentless. It was. I mean, half of it was shot without permits because it was so low budget. They just literally like turn up, shoot a scene, and run away again. I think there's one scene where Arnold Schwarzenegger is like standing next to a car, and they literally had on the road behind the car his civvy clothes laid out. And they literally rocked up, laid those clothes out, shot the scene with James Cameron holding the camera himself. So it was just the two of them. Shot the scene. James Cameron shoved the camera back in the car. Arnie got changed. He went one way and Cameron went the other with the camera and the footage. Because they were just like, they had no money to do it
Guerrilla
properly. And
filmmaking.
exactly, yeah. So proper guerrilla style.
So you touched on something at the beginning of that where you talked about the Terminator being relentless.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that comes across really well in this.
Yeah.
Like once you get to the end and it's half a body and an arm and a head still chasing Sarah
Yeah.
Connor through the factory,
Yeah.
like you really get... They even false ending you with a big explosion and a big hug, and then that metal skeleton comes up out of the flames.
Yeah.
I think from the moment that tanker crashes, that's from then on is my favourite scene. Although it's like a collection of a couple of scenes, but like that finale I think is my favourite bit of the film, because I think, like you say, it really rams home that it will stop at nothing, and it really, like, you do get to a point where you think,
And in
actually
fact-
this might actually kill her. Like it might,
And
you're
in
starting to
fact,
think.
it doesn't die and the light doesn't go out of its eyes until it's got a hand around her neck and it's squashed into paste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like so if you haven't seen the end of Terminator, go and see Terminator. But she crawls through like a hydraulic press. What's left of the robot follows her, and she activates the press, and it comes down and squishes it. And the light in the eyes doesn't go out as soon as it's touched. It's practically flat by the time it's dead. And as I said, it's already got its remaining hand around her neck or on her shoulder.
Yeah, I think it's a great scene. I think that's my favourite part by far. Yeah, because it's just so that's James Cameron's nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the fever dream right there, isn't it? That kind of anxiety of being chased.
The inevitability of it.
Yeah. I mean, we've touched on it a little bit, but this film pretty much launched Arnie.
Oh, definitely. So there was this and Conan, and then the next year is Commando.
Yeah.
And Red Heat, I think, in the same year.
I
Or
think
was that
so.
a couple of years
Killing
later?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that, given his back catalogue, do you think he is a good actor?
I think he has become a better actor. So I have seen Hercules in New York.
Yeah.
I have seen a bunch of Arnold Schwarzenegger films in the middle. And I have seen, I cannot remember the name of it, but it's the film where his little girl is turning into a zombie.
The man.
It's not Mandy. That's the
Cage one.
Nicolas Cage one, for which I saw the best review, which was a normal man's life is made hell until he turns into Nicolas Cage. Maggie? Is it Maggie?
Maggie. Yeah, I knew it was an M. I knew it began with M, but Maggie. Yeah.
And that's only a couple of years old. Once you get to that, he's finally a good actor. But I couldn't tell if he was actually giving a good performance, or I thought it was a good performance because it's not what I expected out of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right, playing against. Okay, interesting. I haven't seen that. I was kind of quite intrigued by that. What about you, Adam? What do you think?
I think at his peak he wasn't a good actor. I don't think it matters.
but
the
roles
roles he
were
was picking. Yeah.
tailor written for him, and he just inhabited them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they completely ignored, why is this sheriff in the Midwest sound like an Austrian?
I mean, that's far later on.
Yeah.
To the point where it doesn't matter if you get Arnie in a movie, you just make the movie. But
Yes, my name is definitely James Sullivan. I have lived here all my life.
yeah, I think all he needed to ever be in the 80s was just a human tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's all he needed to be, and that was fine. That was enough. You know, this was the era of bodybuilding, powerlifting, that whole American cheesiness.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
he was that.
Yeah.
He was
an ideal.
He was the WWF
arms
with
and
a
legs.
gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that being the Terminator lends itself to being a wooden actor, like someone who
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah.
so could he have got that breakthrough, do you think, without making this particular movie? Because I don't think Conan would have done it.
I've never seen Conan. I will say
They're
next
awful.
year this show should do Commando, because that's
Yes.
actually really good and
Yeah.
way more progressive than you think for a meathead action movie from 1985.
Yeah, but
I think he needed this film.
I think so too, and I can't see.
And I think James Cameron did as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Without this, he's making Piranha sequels still.
Uh,
yeah,
Oh God. There's a lot of plus and minuses to this film being made, I suppose.
Yeah.
It was really weird for me watching Sarah Connor being so familiar. I've seen Terminator 2 a bunch of times. Terminator 1, this is only the second time I watched it.
Oh really?
Really?
Earlier today, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
So it's very strange to me seeing Sarah Connor being like a happy-go-lucky, like 20,
Yeah.
20-odd-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm used to the hard-as-nails butch.
Yeah,
Beating
Sarah
up prison
Connor.
guards, Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I really like the way that her character goes from being a sort of put-upon waitress who is, let's be honest, terrible at her job. I think she should just,
Well,
be
she's
ashamed of
never destined to be that. She was destined to be the mother of
I
a.
have no idea how she got that job in the
Mercenary.
first place.
There's no destiny. There is no fate but that which we make for ourselves.
Okay.
Well, that's the second one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway.
It was great watching her progression, and they do it quite well. But I don't believe the romantic plotline.
No, I think that is a bit of a sticky kind of.
I'd prefer
Point
the
in
film
it.
whethout it.
Yeah, you kind of have to have it though.
Yeah, but you need it.
Well, no, not really. She could have tripped, he could have fell.
The
Then it becomes even less romantic.
yeah.
Exactly. I don't want the romance because it's not there anyway. Get rid.
Yeah, but
It
then
could be like, by the way, Sarah, just occurred to me, I'm probably John's dad. I've just wanked into this condom.
yeah, I
Is a
can't
turkey
imagine
based
that.
there.
I don't think that'd go down well, really.
So
I mean, it's quite a stretch to believe that he's come back from the future in the first place.
while we're talking about the romantic subplot of this film, she asks him, "Is there anyone special?" And he says, "No, never." So do we see Carl Reese lose his virginity in this film?
Yes. Absolutely.
Good lord.
Yeah.
And he hits target on the first try as well.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, yeah.
I
roll of the dice.
also wrote about the sexy angry pipe bomb packing leads to passionate pipe bomb packing,
Oh, boy.
Oh dear.
was
That's
and the
That's
terrible.
piano
great, though.
rendition of the Terminator theme, which I did laugh. Are we on to the nitpicking section?
Yeah, very much so.
Good. Can I nitpick how highly inefficient T101's vision appears to be?
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's bad vision.
How the hell is he supposed to see anything?
Just the resolution alone is dreadful. How does he even read the text that's on his eyes?
Well, apparently, that's like if you have a Mac 2, there's a command line you can just type in, and that's what gets auto-generated.
Nah.
Like that's how they did it. They just had a computer and they just type in a program command, and it just generates all of that information.
In the underground future attack, when Kyle flashes back and forward,
Yes.
The flashbacks were weirdly positioned in this film.
is the Terminator that makes it into the tunnel where they're hiding out? Is his gun a machine gun or a laser? Because it can't decide between shots.
It's both.
When
it's
you
like
see
both.
it's a machine gun.
Have you not seen those machine guns that are like part
Machine
machine gun,
lasers.
part grenade launcher? It's just one of those.
Yeah. Got a couple of options.
Yeah.
I also particularly like in the police station massacre, there's a guy who flinches at the sound of Arnie's gun after he's been killed.
That sequence is really cool as well. That vies for my top spot, actually.
Yeah.
The assault on the police station.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's where it's the birth of the catchphrase.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
The iconic line.
Yep.
Yeah, I was told she was here. Can I see her, please? I know that's not the line. But
No.
In my notes, he said it. He said the line.
There's another thing I wrote earlier on. So when the 101 turns up at the actual Sarah Connor's house and kills Ginger, well, initially he sneaks in through the back way and kills Ginger's fella. I bet that stuntman absolutely loved being thrown into mirrors and on the floor with no clothing on and therefore no padding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sucked. But that guy was like, he says something like, "Don't make me mess you up," or something like that, as he's swinging at him.
Yeah.
Like with a candlestick. You can't threaten someone whilst under the inertia of a killing blow.
Yeah, threaten first, then swing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wallops into that mirror,
Yeah.
like properly
Yeah, in
into
just
it.
his pants.
Yeah. And even Sugar Glass is gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not fun.
No fun.
I think the T101 is crap. Actually,
Well, that's why
I can't possibly believe at this point, just watching it back, anyone ever making a robot, a cyborg, that's designed to shoot people, ever miss a shot. Ever.
It's
and
weird,
he misses
yeah.
tons of shots.
It's weird numbering as well, because Carl Reese talks about the 600 series, which has rubber skin.
Yeah.
And this is the next generation, but it's the 101. And then when he's remade in Terminator 2, he's the T800. So what happened to the 700 series? Why isn't he a 700 series?
I don't think they really refer to the serial numbers, though, right? In the first one. Do they?
In the first one, he's called Cyberdyne Systems 101.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that not just like not a model number, but a specific serial number? Could he be
Yeah,
a
maybe
T800, but he's number 101?
Imagine if a computer takes over the world with 101 robots.
And it also kind of like, so clearly the Robert Patrick T1000 is much more effective,
So you think there was a 900 in between that's a bit
is
crap?
Amazing.
right? So why don't the machines send the T1000 back to tell the other machines, don't bother with the 800,
Yeah.
because we're going to sort this out in the future?
Yeah.
Well, I kind of want to know why subsequent Terminator movies take place in the future of this 1984 universe.
Yeah.
Why, if they've got a time machine, why aren't they going back
Further.
like even to 1984 again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just gang up on them.
Yeah.
Why don't they kill Sarah Connor's mum?
Why don't they kill Sarah Connor when she's 3?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they don't know anything about Sarah Connor, just where she was.
They
at
don't have a
certain
bloody
times.
photo of her.
No.
All seeing
That's
all
true,
the
yeah.
Skynet
This gets
doesn't
covered
have
in
a
the
photo.
Terminator.
it does, yeah.
They don't know anything about her other than her name and the city she's in 1984.
Yeah.
So that's useful.
If they captured Carl
From
Reese,
a
they could
plot.
have got a picture as well.
Yeah. From a plot perspective, that's useful. Surely Skynet, being a super intelligent supercomputer military AI, would understand that if it could send back a robot to kill John Connor / John Connor's mum, they wouldn't need to. Like, it would already be done. They'd have to send the robot back to self-fulfill that prophecy, but it's a time loop.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Also, if they can send one robot, why haven't they sent 10 robots at once?
Yeah.
Because they blow up the time travel machine.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It's always going to be the problem with time machine movies,
Yeah.
or any kind of time travel movies.
If it was possible for Skynet to win,
Yeah.
they'd already know about it before they sent the robot. They'd had already won. And then be like, all right, we've won the war, now let's send the robot.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
My brain hurts. Should we
Yeah,
wrap this
isn't
up?
that weird? Isn't that weird? Because I feel like if they have the intention and the ability to send a robot back in time, they would have already won the war. So if they were losing the war, they know that Sarah Connor can never die. Like, it's impossible for them to come up with a scenario where she does.
Yeah.
So, like, see? That's difficult.
Paradox.
Is this like Bill and
It's a
Ted, where
paradox,
they're
yeah.
like, I have to remember to put the keys behind this sign?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
way worse.
Yeah.
That's true. When we cover Bill and Ted, which we inevitably will, I'm sure,
Yeah.
then we'll have to figure out if there are any annoying.
That's one of the films that made me love time travel scenarios.
I love
Yeah.
Bill and Ted
because
so much.
they
Sophie, who's
wrap
not-
up
yeah.
so many problems with
Yeah.
time travel films
Yeah.
in that one stupid movie.
Yeah.
Well, we should wrap this one up then,
We absolutely should.
because
We've rattled on about everything other than the
I know,
Terminator.
it's been
for
very
quite a long
rambling.
time.
I
this one.
just think that Terminator, like, there's no way that Skynet could possibly
You're still stuck on this, aren't
understand.
I could just
Like-
unplug him.
you? Yeah.
It knows that it can't win the fight. It's impossible.
But it's going to try.
It can't, like, it knows that there's no point in trying. Just like the humans know
That it's going to succeed.
that Kyle Reese will succeed.
Because he must do, because John Connor's there.
Exactly.
If he keeps going, eventually he'll short circuit and shut down and we can stop the show.
That's what I'm hoping.
Do you reckon John Connor's, like, he's back in the future? Kyle Reese has gone in the time machine and John Connor's, like, holding a photograph of himself with his mum and his hands fading. He's going see-through. He's playing Johnny Be Good.
Wearing a Mickey Mouse t-shirt.
I think it's fair to say we still all quite like the Terminator.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Even
think
with its
generally it
time
holds
travel
up.
issues.
My biggest issue, well, aside from the time travel thing, which is very difficult to get your head around, and the romantic plot, which I don't think worked, but I will grudgingly say you probably do need it. So maybe it just needed a bit more effort.
It stops John Connor's dad being a faceless person we
Yes.
don't see who's
Yeah.
not in the film.
Yeah.
Sure. I agree. And the conception is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because once the conception happens, Skynet has failed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's it for this episode. On the next episode, Sophie will be leading the way as we look at The Wizard of Oz, which will be, was it 80 years? I think it is.
Good God.
80? Yeah, it's 80.
Yeah, Wizard of Oz will be 80.
We're
Which
off to
is
see
just-
the wizard.
Yeah. That's it from all of us. You just have to say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
This podcast was recorded in the Upbeat studio in London. Studio inquiries, drop us an email on studio@upbeatproductions.com. You can also find us on Twitter. Head to @upbeatprod to see what we're up to, and @upbeat_ents for our film coverage and entertainment news.